We are on chapter 3,
Three.
right?
Mm.
Chapter 3. And we've had a couple of sessions on chapter 3. The name of the chapter 3, is Karam Yog, just so you know, in case you've forgotten. So it's going deeper into Karam Yog. And we in the first two sessions, okay, what were the couple of points that we learned? Anybody?
त्याग.
No, उससे पहले उसने त्याग, गुड. बट पहले वाला था कि ही कृष्ण को इसने पूछा, अर्जुन ने, what is better, Karam Yog or sannyas?
Sannyasa.
Right? So, what did Krishna Bhagavan say which is better?
Karam Yog.
Karam Yog. And why did he say
Karam
Karam
Yog.
Yog is better? I mean, he didn't say it as such, but that's what he was implying. But why?
We live in the world
And what's the advantage of living in the world?
and take care of all your transactions.
Right?
No. If you become a sannyasi, then you have your desires left, then
Right.
you will do nothing.
Exactly.
So you have to stay, do your karam things, and then become sannyasi, not before that.
Correct.
Because otherwise you'll be between the two.
Amazing.
No regrets.
No?
Yes.
They're literally paying
Because
attention and
This
retaining.
is,
yeah.
this is without revision because I'm very busy with downstairs renovation these days.
So because the main point is to take care of your needs and obsessions and desires which are in your mind. So if people like us, they just, I mean, at least people like me, we go to sannyas, we will be sitting in sannyas, listening
And
to the
thinking
teacher,
about
and my
your
mind will
girlfriend.
be, my mind will be thinking about something else. Exactly. Right. So what's the point? So Karam Yog, but on the other hand, if we just keep living the way we are living in this world, then also there's no point because nothing. We are not taking care of our desires and obsessions and problems because it's these desires and all of these obsessions which are coming in between us and our peace. Our peace is our natural state, but all these things are coming in between. So how do we take care of them? So that's why you have to stay in the world, but be a Karam Yogi, not just stay in the world and be a Kamakarmi. Kamakarmi means the person who is just running after his desires or her desires and nothing else. Thinking that by meeting my desires, I'll be happy, and I'm getting meeting my desires, more and more desires, I'm getting more and more happy. Whereas actually, what is happening is you're meeting more and more desires and having even more desires. It's just like we just don't see it. We are blind to it. So Gita is saying, take a step back and look at yourself, look at what you're doing, okay, and see what you want to do. So that was the first thing we learned in chapter 3, right? And then Meeta, what did he say about tyag since you brought up tyag?
Said that do your daily work without without thinking of the results. Put in your best effort without no go the whole way. Don't think about the end result.
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying is, yeah, good. So in other words, he's saying what you have to tyag is not, the tyag is not the work that you have to tyag.
Yeah, it is basically Karam Yog.
Yes, it's Karam Yog. So Karam Yog is equal to tyag. Karam
Yeah.
Yog is equal to renunciation. So he said, first thing he said was, because this chapter is about Karam Yog, right? So first he said about Karam Yog that it is a great thing. It's better than sannyas because it will take care of your desires and issues and anxieties. And secondly, he said it is also the same as tyag because people normally think त्याग करके मैं पहाड़ में चला गया, mountain में चला गया, गुफा में चला गया. He's saying that is not tyag. That is just a change in geography. Okay, the tyag means that you tyag your not your actions or your activities, but your clamor for obsession for results. That's what you tyag. So you tyag. So you tyag. In other words, you tyag your doership. You don't think, hey, I am the doer. I am this great guy who's done so many things, or this great girl who's done so many things. Um, you know, like tyag that feeling, that ego, that is what you have to tyag, not your activity. In fact, you have to increase your activity. If anything, you will with tyag, when you don't care so much about the result and you know you're doing the right thing, you'll do more things. You'll achieve more even. That is the paradox of Karam Yoga. That you'll be actually more successful because you're not so fixated on your results. So, those are the two things we learned so far. And now we are going into little deeper into another way of looking at Karam Yoga or another angle of looking at Karam Yoga, which goes further. So now I'm going to actually show you the verse because he's looking at it now from a different angle. He's looking at it from a Vedic karma angle, from the Ved karma. So I should have got this ready. I'm really sorry. Pull it up. Okay. It's up now. And I'm going to share chapter 3. So you got it? You can see it now, I hope.
Yep. Yeah.
Perfect. So now we are on this number 9. So he says, Yag arthat karmani karmanah anyatra loko ayam karam bandhana. So yagya arthat anyatra. That means the karmas that you're doing for yagya, right? And I'll explain to you what yagya is. This is the whole session is going to be about this today. So we are going to just take this one verse and we are going to understand it properly because it's really important. So he's saying anything that you do other than yagyarth. So yagyarth का मतलब है यज्ञ के लिए, उसको कहते हैं यज्ञार्थ. So yagyarth के अलावा अन्यत्र any karmana that you do in this world, in this loka, here I am, it's a karam bandhana. It binds you. Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. That means, therefore, do your karam for that earth, tadarth, matlab for yagya. Think of your karam as yagya and be a mukta sangha. That means be wise, without attachments. Samachara, behave. Your behavior should be one without attachments. Okay? So I'm going to close this now because I just wanted to show you that this is what the shlok is. So again, what the shlok is saying is, everything you do it as a yag. Think about it as a yag. So आपको पता है यज्ञ क्या होता है? यज्ञ होता है ना, आपने सुना होगा यज्ञ करते हैं लोग, कहाँ कहाँ पूजा करते हैं, यज्ञ करते हैं, पुरोहित आते हैं, बड़ी सारी बातें करते हैं, they sing mantras and all that. And some yajns go on for 3-4 days. So that's called a yag. So now it doesn't mean just yag, that's a literal meaning of yag, but Gita has given yag a more figurative meaning. So for that, we'll step back. Okay? And I'm going to ask you, when we say karma, do we really understand what karma really means? What is karma? So for example, if I get up and start, मैं गार्डनर हूँ, गार्डनिंग करनी शुरू कर दी जोर से, सारा दिन गार्डनिंग करी, खूब सारे प्लांट्स लगाए, is that karma? It's action, right? It's karma. It's not a trick question. Sorry. It's karma. Okay. So that's one kind of karma. It's a physical karma. Correct?
Yeah.
But what about if I talk? I'm talking right now. Is that an action?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also a karma. So when I talk, it's also karma. So what about if I think? If let's say Tony Bhai has given me Nitu, you do this. I've given you 2 options. You got to make a decision. Here's the criteria. So I start thinking, ये करूँ, ऐसे करूँ, वैसे करूँ, ऐसे करूँ. And then I come up with a decision. So that's a mental process. Is that karma?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are 3 types of karmas if you think about it. This is the manasik karma, mental process. Vachika karma, which is the speech. And then the physical karma, which is the karma that we all know, जो हम करते रहते हैं. So now, incidentally, let me ask you another question. Let's say your eyes are open, and in front of you're sitting here. In front of you, I just take a placard, or I just take this cup and I show this to you. You've all seen this cup. Is this a karma? The act of seeing?
Yeah.
No, actually, it's not. Okay. So in the Vedic sense, karma means that where you have an intention, you make an effort, and you seek a result. That's karma. The act of seeing, the act of hearing, the perceptions is actually called jnana, knowledge. Because you don't make an effort. You cannot, even if you want to, you can't avoid seeing. You cannot avoid it. if something is put in front of you, you will see it. Now, if you have to open your eyes to see, that opening of the eyes is karma. Exactly. True. But karma, knowledge is not karma. So in other words, even, and this is a very intricate point, because let's say Tony Bhaiya ka main example de raha tha, abhi Tony Bhaiya gave me a problem. You do this analysis, I've given you two options. Choose one between the two. So I'll do a lot of analysis. That's all karma. But when the answer comes to me, that is not karma. That's an understanding which has hit me. I can't help it. That has come of its own accord. It may have been facilitated by my thinking. And the reason is, you can think about it. You give this topic to two people. One person may be able to come up with an understanding and answer. The other will not. He'll keep trying. आएगा ही नहीं. और एक को, some people just get it. Some don't get it. That getting it, which is gyan, is not karma. And it's an important distinction which you will see later, because they say that moksha is not karma. Moksha is gyan. That means to know that I am this whole world, I am nothing different from Ishwar, is not a karma. It's not something which will come through effort. मैं सोचते रहूंगा, मैं आएगा, मैं ईश्वर नहीं हूं, मैं ये हूं, ऐसे नहीं आएगा. It comes on its own. And it comes on its own when you have antakarna shuddhi. When your mind is clear of desires, it comes on its own.
So how about like breathing and involuntary actions in the body? Is that karma or
That's
not?
all karma. Yeah. You may not be doing that intentionally, in the sense that your mind, may not think that you're doing it intentionally, but it's all karma. I think it's not, don't look at it as a scientific thing. Look at it as a distinction between karma and gyan. What is the point that he's trying to make here in terms of what is gyan and what is karma?
That you can't help perception. You can't help
Yes,
if
you can't help
consciousness
perception.
and anything comes in front of consciousness, that perception is okay.
Happens.
Yeah.
Perception
Not
happens.
understood.
And the important thing is, I will come do it again, Didi. So the important thing is to know that self-knowledge is not action. Self-knowledge is knowledge. It's gyan. It comes to you when your mind is ready. And readiness of the mind, preparing the mind to be ready, is karma. Didi, I was just saying that it's not important really right now. We'll visit it again and again. But it's, as long as you understand what are the different kinds of karma. What is karma? Because so when you say Karam Yog, you have to do the appropriate karmas with the right attitude. It's not only just doing physical work. It's not only just doing your work at your office or at home. It's everything you say, everything you think. It's all part of Karam Yog. Not just what you do with your hands and feet. So how you relate to people, how you think about people, what you say to people, is all part and parcel of Karam Yog. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yes, got it.
Got it? And now the point of this is with the Vedic karmas. If, let's say, everything we speak is a karam, then when you do puja, is that a karam? जब हम बैठ के पूजा करते हैं, भगवान को मानते हैं, उसको भगवान को ध्यान देंगे, कुछ मंत्र बोलेंगे, that's also a karam. Two kinds of karmas are happening. One is we are talking, we are speaking mantras, Bhagwan Chalisa पढ़ रहे हैं. And the other is we are thinking about God or thinking about something. Both of them are happening. The manasik karma and the vachika karma, both are happening. In fact, sometimes in Gurdwara, in mandirs and all, people start dancing also. So even physical karmas also happen. So bhakti is all karma. That's what I'm trying to say.
What is
Bhakti
physical
not
karma
jnana.
called in Sanskrit? Like you said, mansik and vachika.
मेरे को याद नहीं आ रहा दीदी. I'll look and tell you.
Okay,
It's
that's fine.
kapika or something like that.
Acha, theek hai.
I'll tell you.
Don't worry about it. I didn't mean to digress. That's okay.
No. I just don't remember.
It's okay. Proceed.
Okay. I should remember. I forgot.
Boy.
Okay.
It's okay.
Later.
Then, Abhi, you'll ask now, which one did you mention, mansik and vachika? I will not remember it. So don't worry.
Those okay. Those are because anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what the idea is, that puja is also a karma. And when you say Vedic karmas and Laukik karmas, these are the two kinds of classifications. Vedic karmas are the pujas which are given in the Vedas, pujas and the meditations. And Lokik karma is the karma we do in this world. So, in this particular section of Gita, Krishna Bhagwan is referring to the Vedic karmas to make a point. Okay, because in Vedic karmas we have something called yajna. So now I'm going to tell you about what is Ved and what is yajna and why this has been brought into the Gita. Okay, so it seems like a little diversion, but it's not. Shall we go? Proceed? So far, so good?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So, what is the Ved? The Ved has 4 parts. And this is extra knowledge for you guys, okay? I don't have to strictly say all this, but because Didi, you were interested in it.
Yes, absolutely.
One part of the Ved is the core of the Ved, the engine of the Ved. You know, like without which the Ved is not a Ved. Is called the Samhita.
Again?
Samhita. Okay. Now, Samhita is a collection of hymns or a collection of mantras. So, mantras are what? These are invocations. So, what is the point of Ved? What Ved is saying is that this whole world is intelligent. This whole universe is intelligent. And it's run by laws. It's run by, and you know, science is saying the same thing, it's run by laws. And it has personified these laws. And it has said that there's a person who's running these laws. So these laws have been personified. So, for example, if you think about the laws of this whole world, everything all together, they've been personified into something called Ishwar. So the world is intelligent, right? And that is the way to think about it, that the universe is intelligent. Things are happening in a very orderly fashion. Where did this order come from? It's inherent in the universe. It's not that there's a guy sitting somewhere who's designed the universe and he's telling it, run it like this. Not like that. It's inherent in the universe, this order. You cannot argue with it. You can't argue with the fact that there is order in this world. If there was no order, there'll be no life. We know that after 9 months, a kid is born. When the kid is born, he will grow like this. After some time, this will happen. Then this will happen. We know that the Earth rotates around the sun. Every 365 days, it completes a rotation. There's all order everywhere. Everywhere you see there's order. So this order, Vedanta or our Ved, they say that it is inherent in the universe. It is there, inherent. But they have personified it and called it Ishwar. And then they've said, in order to better grasp it, bit at a time, they've created Devta. Devta is just an aspect of Ishwar, just a part of Ishwar. So, you know, when you're thinking about order, it's hard to think about all order everywhere. So you think about it in pieces. So let's say you're thinking about the sun. Now, the sun has order too. The way that thermonuclear reactions take place in the sun and the way heat is dissipated, the way it revolves, you know, the amount of revolutions, how it goes around the galaxy, right? How it pulls all the planets, everything. There's order in that sun. So they say, okay, let's just look at the sun. And the order in the sun, we call the sun devta, Suraj, Ravi, or whatever. So we call it a devta. And we acknowledge this order. We appreciate this order. We appreciate this order because it's there we're living in an orderly universe. We are living in a living universe, in other words. We are living in an intelligent universe. So I want to appreciate that the fact that sun provides me, this orderly sun, provides me with my sustenance. If the sun was not doing what it's doing, I would not be living the way I'm living. There'll be no plants, there'll be no photosynthesis, there'll be no food for us because plants give us food. I would not be able to survive. So I appreciate the fact that I'm getting something from the sun. So for that, they've created a ritual. They've created a ritual where sun is the devta. So they will have some hymns which will invoke the sun god. So you'll sing those hymns which invoke the sun god. There's always a fire because fire, they say, is the medium through which your invocations and your offerings reach the sun god. Okay, that's how they put it together. So there'll always be a fire. There will be a yajamana. Yajamana is the person who's making the offering, who's giving the offering to the god, who's invoking the gods. So let's say I do a ritual, sun ritual, I will be the yajamana. If the ritual is complicated, I won't know all the mantras, so I will call some purohits and they will sing on my behalf. They will recite the mantras on my behalf. They will make the offering into the fire, whatever it is. Sometimes the offering is some food. Sometimes the offering is a sacrifice of an animal. Sometimes the offering is just a prayer, just some stuti, some praise. That's an offering. But it's done in order to keep in your mind and remember that there is intelligence in this universe. Part of that is manifested in the sun. That intelligence which the sun has, the order that the sun has, is important for you. You are living, your life is based on that order, and you are appreciating that, right? That's called a yagna. Now, sometimes you may do a yagna. So this is a sun salutation that you do every day. You're supposed to do every day, per the Vedas. You're supposed to do 3 times a day. In the morning, at midnight, and at twilight morning, midday, twilight night, evening. Right? But nobody does it now, but some people still do it. But you're not asking anything in return. You're just appreciating the sun. But there are these elaborate rituals where people are asking. They say, I am going to start a new venture. I need your blessings, God. So you will call appropriate, invoke an appropriate devata, and then tell the devata, I am offering you my prayers. You could offer some dhan, you could offer some food, you could offer just praise, and then you also ask. You say, I want this, God. And this is not as funny as it sounds, because if you think about it, if you think about your own relationships with God, all our relationships with God, they're exactly like that. We are always asking God, गॉड मेरे भगवान बच्चों को ठीक रखो, मेरे माँ पिता को ठीक रखो, मेरी फैमिली को ठीक रखो, मेरी सेहत ठीक रखो, मुझे ये दो, मुझे वो दो. वी आर ऑलवेज आस्किंग. दैट इज यज्ञ. यज्ञ इज एन एक्सचेंज where you're asking, you're giving something. What you're giving to God in return is you're saying, God, I appreciate you. You're all powerful. You are great. आप पालनहार हो. आपसे बड़ा कोई नहीं है. आप सबसे सबके माता नीली छतरी वाले हो. You make this world run. So what are you doing? In a way, it's kind of bribery. It's not bribery, but you're kind of saying all the good things to God. Well, why are you saying them? Because you want God. You understand that the God is powerful, and you want something from God. You want him to take care of you. That's why you're saying it. This is a yagna. Now, you may not have a fire in which you're saying it. You may not be invoking mantras. You may be just saying it in your own, but in your mind. But it is a karma. It's a vachika karma or a mansik karma. If you're speaking it out loud, it's a vachika karma. If you're just thinking about it, it's a mansik karma. But you're asking for an exchange, and therefore it's a yagna. But this yagna, you're asking for something, but there are some yagnas where you're just thanking. You're not asking. You're just saying, God, thank you. I appreciate you. Something like you're propitiating. It's called propitiation. So what does the prayer say now? What does the shlok say? The shlok says, consider all your actions as a yagna. All your actions are a yagna. What does that mean? That means that, let's say I am asking something from my wife. I'm relating to my wife. I consider my wife as nothing less than a devata, to whom I am asking something and I'm offering something. So when you see everything around the world, everything in the world as a piece of the order, devata is what? Devata is a piece of Ishwar. It's one part, one aspect of the order which is Ishwar. When you consider everything that around you, which is one part of the aspect of Ishwar, then you're considering them as a devata. When you're considering them as a devata, and then you're interacting with them, you're performing a yagna. So think of all your actions as yagna. If you think of your actions as yagna, you are doing Karam Yog. If you do not think of your actions as yagna, you are not doing Karam Yog. And this is an important piece of understanding, because it's one thing to say, because we don't fully understand it, right? So we say, okay, I will not ask for anything. That's very difficult, to not ask for anything and do something. What does it even mean? It means that you think about everything as a part of Ishwar. That means everything you get from everybody is a prasad. Everything that you offer to everybody is an arpan. I mean, I know this sounds very impractical, but just try to understand the intention and the meaning behind it. And it's not really impractical. It's a very practical way of doing Karam Yog. It's very, it truly is, because, we need to really understand this, that everything that we see, even things that we hate, even things that we dislike, people that we hate, they're all part and parcel of the order of Ishwar. They're part of this intelligence which is pervading this world. Even my intelligence is nothing different than the intelligence which is pervading in this world. What I think is my intelligence which is coming in my brain, where did I get it? It's come from the way my brain is structured, or yours, anybody's. Where did that come from? It came from a universal order of how brains are structured. So there's so all of them are basically things that are part of intelligence. So this way of looking at the world and this way of looking at yourself even is what is Karam Yoga.
So, Nittu, is it fair to say that while we are so strongly identified with our egos, this is a way of making our egos healthy, of relating to the world and to the people of the world? Because I am also a part of Ishwar, I am also a part of the intelligence. But while I am so strongly identified with my ego, relating to the world in this way will gradually calm the issues and the insecurities and the hurts and the anxieties and all of that, and sort of even lead to more psychological well-being.
Yeah, I mean, that's a byproduct of it. But why not just look at it the way that it's saying? Look at everybody as Ishwar.
Yeah,
What's
that's
whole?
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That
why
doing that, but I'm saying doing that is
doing
Karam.
that is about appreciating order in this world. Recognizing that there is order in this world, and that order is what has manifested in you as well. The
But we,
fact that you even have an ego is because of that order.
right, but there's no need. I mean, you can recognize it without appreciating. Whether you appreciate or not, that's all part of the order too. Whether your brain
Okay,
is
it's
one
the
that,
same thing. We are saying recognizing or appreciating, but you will. What else can you do if you recognize it? You'll have some feeling by recognizing it. If you're saying I'm going to have a feeling of I don't like it, right? That's not the
doesn't have
idea,
to be like or not like. I mean, you can just you can just acknowledge it that it's there. But
right?
I'm saying I think that there's an intention behind actually appreciating it. Is to
Appreciating means recognizing everything as part of Ishwar. Everything, even your ego, which you
yeah,
want to get rid
yeah,
of,
yeah.
is part of Ishwar.
Right.
Understanding that and dealing with it also as Ishwar. So if you're saying instead of saying I want to get rid of my ego is bad.
No, no, no.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to explain to you that what it's trying to say is basically just understand and recognize that everything is part of Ishwar. That's all it's saying. There may be a consequence of it. The consequence of it, the way that you're thinking about it, is maybe that you will have calmed down your ego, right? But I'm saying that is like you're taking one part of it and forgetting the bigger picture. So the purpose is not here to calm down your ego. That's not what this is about. This is bigger than that. This is about recognizing it's about bringing peace and harmony to you. It's about understanding that there is a way in which the world is working and the way the world works, which is intelligent. That you are intelligent, the world is also intelligent. It's
Yes,
understanding that part.
yes, yes, yes. And I think I'm saying that calming your ego and bringing peace and harmony are synonymous. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
So you said that there were four things in the core of the Veda. One was Samhita,
Right.
and
One
then
was
then
Samhita.
you one was
So that is
Samveda.
Samhita is a collection of these verses
Mm-hmm.
through which you invoke different devtas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there'll be like in Rig Veda, there are 10 books on the Samhitas, mandalas, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each mandala is talking about invoking a different set of devtas. So the first one is how do you invoke Indra? different ways to invoke Indra for different things, right? So this is one part, that is Samhita.
So all the invocations come under Samhita.
All of them, yeah. All they're called mantras or hymns. They all come
Hymns, yeah.
under
Yeah, okay.
Samhita. So,
Samhita.
when people get married, you invoke
Yeah.
different gods. They're all in Samhita. The
Right.
mantras that these people speak, the priests talk about, they're all in Samhita. The second part of it is Brahmanas. Brahmanas is sort of a metadata, you can say. It's like you have the hymns. Now, how do you speak the hymns? Who speaks which hymn? Which purohit do you want? What kind of a fire should there be? What should be the size of the bricks in the fire? Should the fire be red flamed or yellow flamed or blue flamed? There are 9 different kinds of fire. So you get to get the right fire. You get to get the right people, the right time of the day, all of the things that have to be done in order for the hymns to be properly implemented is in the Brahmanas.
So
So
like
Brahmanas
all the
is that
proper
order.
rituals?
No, ritual. Okay, you can say rituals if you're defining. Depends on how you define ritual. So if you're saying the ritual is the prayer, then the prayer is in a Samhita. But if you're saying the ritual means like everything else, what time of day, what what infrastructure, all the facilities, that's in Brahmanas.
Okay.
Then the third one is called Aranyakas. So Aranyakas is a collection of meditations, dhyan. So there's a difference between a meditation and a hymn. Hymn is a vachika karma. You speak it out. Meditation is a mansik karma. You think, you meditate. I'm going to meditate on Ishwar. So it'll tell you how to meditate on Ishwar. Think about this. There's a very interesting, very well-known meditation which says, think about this universe as Ishwar. The earth is the feet of Ishwar. The skies are the head of Ishwar. The rain is the urine of Ishwar. The something like that, like the sun and the moon are the eyes of Ishwar, right? So basically, it's trying to expand your mind. It's the whole idea about these meditations is they're really trying to open up your mind to thinking that there is more to this world than what you see, and that there is life in this world. Think about this universe as a living thing. So they're different. It's just mental exercises which you do in order to sort of make your mind more flexible. And then the fourth one is called Upanishads. And the Upanishads is not about karmas. It's not about vachika karmas, which were the hymns and the Aranyakas, Samhita and the Brahmanas. It's about the mansik karmas, which is mansik karmas were about meditations, which is in the Aranyakas. Now we're talking about knowledge. It's about Gyan. Upanishads is about self-knowledge. So Vedant is a summary of the Upanishads. What we call Vedant is the sar of the Upanishads. Different Upanishads are saying different, they're saying the same thing but different ways. So they've taken the common parts, made a consistent philosophy of them, and called it Vedant. And similarly, the first 3 portions, especially the Vachika karmas and the hymns and all, and the Brahmanas, another philosophy has taken the core of that and put it all together, and that philosophy is called Purva Mimamsa. So that's Purva Mimamsa, and the Vedanta is Uttar Mimamsa, the latter Mimamsa. That is also Vedanta. So that is how these are the philosophies. The philosophies are related to the Vedas. Okay, so I think I can see that this has become a little too technical, and the energy of the Zoom meeting has gone down significantly.
No. This I think is, to me,
I know,
is
but
extremely interesting because, the way to look at Ishwar in this form, like you can't, the conceptualization of Ishwar as a person versus when you study this Vedanta business now is, it's very controversial. It conflicts with each other. But the way to look at Ishwar in this manner is actually really interesting.
yeah, I love it. I mean, personally, I find this one of the
Absolutely.
most interesting aspects of the Gita, personally.
Yeah.
But I wasn't referring to you and me. I was looking at Meeta and Billu and Tony Bhaiya
I don't
and all
understand.
that.
How do you
and
look
saying
at
that maybe we
Ishwar?
should we should like give it a break.
No. But explain to me, Madhu Didi, how do you look at Ishwar this way? You look at Ishwar with the God in the heaven, with the head in the heaven and the feet in the.
You're
I don't understand you.
so Mita, so our Ishwar, the way we look at it, it's either Shivji, Krishnji, Hanumanji, like that, right? And then various of us worship in different forms of Ishwar, right? But I can't conceptualize that there is a man somewhere that I'm praying to. I can't, especially when we started the Gita. Previously, I had no conflict. Now, when I am reading this, to me, to conceptualize that, okay, there is Hanumanji sitting up there or Shivji sitting up there, I still pray. But this has become a little bit of a conflict that who is this God? Who is this God? But the way to explain it like this, that Ishvara is basically cosmic intelligence,
Yes.
which could be in the form of sun or clouds or rain or moon or all these things. To me, that's actually a very interesting way to think about it. And I can still pray to my Shivji, but I feel like, okay, there he himself has everything within him, and so I can now conceptualize that who am I praying to? Shivji, okay, but really he or Hanumanji, whatever we want to believe in, is basically this intelligence that regulates the world. And to me, that is extremely very interesting way to look at it. So that conflict in my mind about how I couldn't understand the term Ishvara. And when you say that the cosmic intelligence is personified as Ishvara, meaning that's an abstract, that it's personified as Ishvara, that's fine. Now I can understand who Ishvara is.
Exactly.
So this is
Yes.
what I understand.
Yes, Didi, I agree with you 100%. This is exactly a long time ago. Like, this is exactly the conflict I used to have. And the way that Vedanta explains Ishvara as the order at all levels, cosmic level, micro level, psychological level, all levels. That is, and then we just personify that order
Yeah, and you can
in
personify
anthropomorphic
whichever way you
way.
want to.
Yeah.
And
I,
it doesn't mean that I'm not going to pray to Hanumanji,
yes.
but whatever vision I want to pray to, at least I have some kind of
Understanding.
logic to explain who this Ishvara is.
Yes. Sorry,
So
Mita.
that is my understanding.
No, that's fine. No, that I get
So,
it.
so Didi, I have a follow-up question then. So let's say that everything is Ishvara, and let's say uh, I don't know, take any person that you interact with. That person is also Ishwar, right?
Yeah.
So could you now extend this and say, when I see that person, I see Ishwar, and therefore when I interact with that person, I will interact with that person the way I would interact with Ishwar, were I to see Hanuman in front of me.
Very difficult for me.
So that's the next step, right? In other
Yes.
words, what you are trying to do is you've got a conceptual, intellectual understanding of it,
Yeah.
correct? But then you have to make that understanding real.
I understand, but
But
what I
even
don't like, I
still,
still don't
once you
like.
have a conceptual understanding and there's clarity there,
Yeah.
it is a matter of time,
Yes.
right? Maybe it will never be that everything that you think about will be issue, but I mean, I can tell you, like, I feel that is our job. When I think of myself, or if I was to think of myself as a Karam Yogi, that is what Karam Yoga actually means. It's
Yeah.
not. It's a bigger expansive understanding than just saying everything I do without an objective in mind, or rather,
Yes.
no, without an expectation in mind, not an objective. Even an expectation is in mind, but I will take the expectation as a gift from God. That is one thing. It's a narrow definition. It's like the special theory of relativity and the general theory of relativity. So that's one part. But this, when you expand it and say everything is Ishwar, then that really brings the meaning of Karam Yoga to life. Because you're doing
Yes.
your actions not to God, you're doing your actions to each other.
Yeah.
So you say, I dedicate this to God. I do this for you, but I dedicated it to God. That is very abstract.
Yeah.
But if I do this to you, knowing that you are also Ishwar,
Yeah.
right? Then it is a little bit more real.
It's good in my understanding, but
Yeah.
I am way far away from actually ever putting it into practice because I still have very strong likes and dislikes.
That's
But
okay.
all the horrific parts of the world, Trump and Hitler and everything that is awful in the world, all the storms, all the killings, all the negativity is also part of Ishvara. It's also all that order personified. So
And
those,
that's hard to accept
right.
and say that they are Ishvara.
But
Why is that?
even your likes and dislikes
Yep.
are
Yep.
orders are
Yep.
given to you by Ishwar, right? It's not
Right.
like you have to
Right.
hate
Right.
your likes and dislikes. You don't have to hate yourself for having hate in your mind.
Yeah.
That won't, so it's a cycle. If you ask Vidur or any therapist, they will tell you this is just the right way to deal with
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
because you're not punishing yourself. You're saying everything that is in me, good or bad, has come from Ishwar, and okay, I want to change it, but I don't have to hate it to change it. I can change it in a better way and a little bit more uh, compassionate way.
Yep.
Why do we use the word Ishwar and then Ishwara? What?
Actually, I'm so sorry. The word is in Sanskrit, it's Ishwara. In
Ishwara,
Hindi, it's Ishwar.
Ishwar.
See,
So it's not
it's a very
Ishwara, it's Ishwara.
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 Yeah, English में बोलते बोलते ईश्वरा कह देते हैं.
Ishwara हो गया, yeah.
Because
But
in
it's
Sanskrit,
Ishwara or Ishwara. Got it.
जैसे आपको संस्कृत में ना, it's very interesting. मैं मम्मी से बड़ी बार इसी बहस होती है, because मम्मी is a Hindi professor, so she keeps correcting me, and I'm telling her, you are thinking Hindi, I'm thinking
Yeah.
Sanskrit.
Uh,
Because, like, for example, very interesting, there's a word called mamta. M-M-T-A. Mamta. Hindi mein it's called mamta. In Sanskrit, if you say mamta, the guy will not understand you. My teacher was struggling with it. He said, what do you mean? मैंने कहा mamata. Oh, you mean mamata? I go, yeah, mamata. Because in Sanskrit, every letter is pronounced completely. So if you have m-m-ta, it is m-m-ta.
Mamata.
But in Hindi, the second ma, first one is ma, the second becomes ma. So mum.
Yeah.
Ma or ma becomes mum.
Sorry.
In Sanskrit, that ma or mum means ma ke second ma ke niche halant hai. Then you can say mum. Agar halant nahi hai, to it is two mas, mama. That's it. You don't. Sanskrit doesn't make any. Sanskrit is spoken the way it is written.
Yeah.
There is no like, it's totally scientific that way. सो लाइक ईश्वर के जो आर जो है ईश्वर में लास्ट में जो र है उसके नीचे हलंत नहीं है, तो इट कांट बी ईश्वर, इट हैज टू बी ईश्वर, your
But
r
it's
है
got
लास्ट में.
two dots. It's got those two dots at the back.
No, halant mean the two dots is something which makes it ishwarah.
Okay.
That would be different. It doesn't have. Halant means that little, at the bottom of the word in Hindi, a letter, you have a little slash
Yeah.
sometimes. वो becomes आधा म बन जाता है.
Got it. Thank you. Got
So
it.
it's Ishwara in Sanskrit. And then if you
Digression.
make it into English, it becomes Ishwara, because Ishwara is hard to say, so people just say Ishwara. Or Dharma. It's Dharma. In Hindi, it's Dharm. In Hindi, it's Dharm. In Dharm. And in Punjabi, it is Dharm.
Karam.
To one more thing, just to clarify, so the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, and the Aranyakas, all of them are called Purva Mimamsa,
Yeah, so
and the Upanishads are called Uttar Mimamsa. So the Purva Mimamsas are the vachika.
Vachika
right?
and Mansik.
And Mansik. And the Uttar is only Mansik.
No, only knowledge, Gyan.
So Mansik is not
Uttar has
knowledge?
nothing to do with karmas.
Oh.
So this Vedanta thing that we are talking about, the Vedanta goes into karmas only to prepare the mind. Because Vedanta really is about self-knowledge. It's not so much about karam. And it's not that the first three are Purva Mimamsa. The gist of the three has been, some people have gone in and they have extracted the real gist from the first three, and that philosophy is called Purva Mimamsa. So Purva Mimamsa is a philosophy, just like Vedanta is a philosophy. There are four other Indian philosophies, which are called Hindu orthodox philosophies: Sankhya, Yoga, and Vaisheshika, and Nyaya. So there are six core Indian philosophies. That's not, philosophy is something that is extracted from the Shastra. The Ved is a Shastra. So that means it's a text. Ved is a text, like Bible. But if you have to extract the philosophy from what Bible is saying, which could be the core of Christianity, that's a philosophy. Somebody has read the Bible, understood it, everything, and then made a philosophy out of it. So similarly, some people have read the Upanishads, and come up with the philosophy out of it, which is called Vedanta.
And then just to complete this in my mind, at least, the Puranas are like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all that, right?
No. So the Mahabharata and Ramayana is called Itihasa,
Itihas.
as it happened. Itihas means as it happened.
History.
Yeah, history, you can say.
So what are the Puranas?
Puranas are so जो वेद हैं, the things that the message of all these. So there are three things. There's the Itihas, Ramayana and Mahabharata. There's the Ved, and there's Puranas. These are all texts. So the message in all the three is the same. That's the message of Hinduism. But the message in the Ved is very complicated. People, you need to be really knowledgeable and scholarly to understand the Ved and the message in the Ved. It is said in very precise terms, with a lot of concepts involved, which are hard to follow. The same thing has been said in story form in Itihas, which is Mahabharata is supposed to be a big Ved, because Mahabharata covers everything. When Gita is in Mahabharata, that is just like the Upanishads. So, and the lessons of the Vedas are also there in Mahabharata. All the yagnas, shagnas, all of them are happening in the Mahabharata. And they explain to you why they are happening. But to make it even simpler, for even like a common man, very simple, they make even more stories called Puranas. So Puranas is like a oversimplification of the concepts of the Ved, with allegories and like instead of saying the sun devta, they will talk about sun having an affair with Venus or something like that. I don't know exactly. I haven't read them, but they will personify every piece and make it into a
Give an
story.
example of Puranas.
Bhagavad Puran, Skand Puran. There are 18 different Puranas.
Okay.
They came later.
Okay.
The Puranas came only in like 1200 or something AD.
Okay.
1000 or 1200 AD, something like that. And they're more involved with the Bhakti movement, When the Bhakti movement came, Bhakti is a very recent movement. This whole thing about looking at God and praying to God and doing Bhakti of God is a very recent movement.
Okay.
But bhakti is written in Gita as well, right?
Yeah, it is there in the Gita, right? So Gita
Yeah.
has everything in it, but people have extracted it and make a philosophy out of it.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
That is what was done later.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the Gita, it has everything. It has like whoever wants whatever is your leaning, you can go find it in the Gita. Bhakti, Dvait Vedant, Advait Vedant, you name it, Sankhya, you'll find Gita talking about it. And that's what, it's a beauty in the one way, and in another way, it's also the problem because it complicates everything.
Yeah.
So somebody has to actually parse it out for you and tell you. Like for example, ये जो मैंने आपको श्लोक बताया आज, it says yagya. Now yagya can mean anything. Like even a yagya can also mean like doing something expecting a result. People do yagya to have a child or to have successful marriages. You'll do a yagya. That's not Karam Yog. Because you're doing all that, that's an exchange. You're asking God for something very material and saying, I'm offering this to you. So that's also a yagya. But that's not what Gita means by yagya. What Gita means by yagya is doing it without doing a yagya, offering something without expectation, just recognition. That's all.
Can yoga be concentration? No.
Yagya, what? Yagya
Yoga
is
be concentration?
no. Yagya is just a ritual
A ritual of appreciation, I guess.
of appreciation.
Yeah.
Concentration would be dhyan.
Dhyan, yeah.
So in a ritual, there are many elements. So the person, let's say I'm doing a ritual, right? So I don't know all the rituals, but I want a son. Let's say I want a son. So there's a yagya called Putra Kameshti. So that's the only one I know of. I mean, a couple others I know. So उसमें क्या होगा? I will sit down. There will be lots of prayers. Now I don't know all the prayers, so I'll call purohits, pandits. Like हम भी बुलाते हैं ना पंडितों को कि हमने पूजा करनी है, पंडित आके पूजा करता है. तो जब कार आई थी, जब मासी ने कार ली थी, मम्मी और मासी ने, मुझे याद है, वी वेंट टू अ पंडित. The Pandit came and he, did all the puja around the car. Now we can't do it ourselves because we don't know. शादी पे हम अपनी बच्चों की पूजा we can't do the thing. Purohit will do it. So Putra Kameshti maybe Purohit will come. He will say all these different mantras, right? And I'll be the Yajamana. I am the one who wants the son. So he's saying them on my behalf. He'll say, दान दो. आपको $5,000 दान दो. So मैं $5,000 दान दूंगा. Right? That's an offering. It's an offering to God. Now, whether it's going to God or going to the pockets of the Pandits, I don't know and I don't care. From my part, it's an offering. And I will also say things, swaha karo, ye dalo, wo dalo. These are all my offerings into the fire. And in return, I'm expecting what? I'm expecting not nothing. I'm expecting a son. If I don't get a son, I'm not going to be happy. Neither with the Pandit nor with the God. That is not Karam Yoga. But
Nitu,
it's given in the Gita.
but Nitu, yajna you said is like an exchange.
Right.
You appreciate God, but you're also wanting in return.
Yes.
And obviously, when you are wanting something, there is an expectation.
Absolutely.
So the expectation is there.
Yes.
So how is it different than anything?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So that kind of a yajna is not what Gita means by Karam Yoga. So if you that's why I was trying to tell you how you have to be careful with the Gita.
Yeah. So,
because
but then
Gita uses the word yajna, but the yajna that it means is a yajna where you're not expecting anything. You're just being
just appreciating God. That's it.
That's it. So, like for example, when you do the sun salutation, you have nimitta karmas. You have to do 3 times a day. I gave you that example, no?
Yeah, right.
Usme you're not asking anything. You're just doing it as a duty. It's your duty to get up in the morning. You have to get up before the sun comes up. You have to light a fire.
Yeah.
And you have to say certain chants. Look at the sun as the rising sun pointing towards you. Say a few chants. Bend down, whatever. That's a duty. You're not doing it with any particular thing in mind. Whether you are happy today, sad today, whether you have a son or you don't have a son, you just have to do it every day. That is what Gita calls a yajna. In other words, you're saying that sun is a devta, and I am propitiating that devta. Propitiating means you're just offering praise. You're offering something to the devta. You're offering your prayers to the devta.
So it's not an exchange then.
It's not that. It's so yajna can be as an exchange or without an exchange. When Gita says that you have to do Karam Yog is yajna, it means yajna without an exchange.
Okay.
The only exchange possible is you're doing it because you want to do your duty and you expect anta karna shuddhi. You expect your mind to be purified with this. That's the only thing that you're asking. You're saying, God, please take care of my desires, get rid of not give me the fruit of my desires, but get rid of my desires. I don't, I want peace in my life. I don't want all these obsessions and desires and anxiety. Please, I hope that I can get rid of them. Please help me get rid of them. That ask is the only ask allowed in Karam Yoga. And that ask you have to have because that is your objective. You can't do anything without any expectation at all. This is the expectation. So it's saying, go for the right objective. The objective of saying, I want this, I want a son, is a short-term objective because you'll get a son and then you'll want something else. So that is not an objective worth following. Go for the objective that really matters to you. And that is your peace of mind. That has nothing to do with what you have and what you don't have. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your understanding of what brings peace. Ask for that. So it's a very rational. It's a rational approach. So once the thing about it is, Didi, the thing is, whatever you pray for, whatever you ask, you're focusing there. That's what you get. It's not that God gives you. It's like everything in your body, in your mind, starts to focus. And before you know it, it becomes an intention. And the intention multiplies, and you get it. You see in your life, at least I'm seeing. If there's something I really wanted, I get it. Maybe late. Maybe after a long time.
Ekabuddhi.
I have a question.
Exactly.
I have a question. So, you mentioned that when we do yajna, we call the Purohit, we give him this, we give him that. this is something that Suresh and I have always argued about, because when we go to the temple, he will say, no, let's ask the Pandit to do it. And I say, I'm talking to God. Why do I need the Pandit in between? Why do I have to give him something? Why do I have to have those mantras? So, so is that the right way to do it? Or it's not?
No,
I
no,
mean,
whatever
I
works for
don't
you.
believe that I need a Pandit in between.
I mean, no, I honestly like all these rituals from a
Yeah.
Vedanta perspective.
Yeah.
All these rituals are just a stepping stone.
Yes, what said deliberately.
These rituals are not what's going to bring you happiness. Okay, these is not what they are focused on.
Be
Vedanta is
careful
not
with
focused on it. So if you have insecurities in your mind, if you need something from God, and if it helps you to feel कि मैंने अपनी तरफ से रिचुअल कर दिया, मैंने अपनी तरफ से सब कुछ कर दिया, अब मेरे को भगवान से कुछ मिल जाएगा. If it makes you feel better, that's fine. If you can manage without it, if it doesn't bother you, then go for it. Doesn't matter.
And Madhu, take it another step, right?
Then
Why-
center is मिठाना जी आप
Yeah.
साइड वाले मत डालो इसमें.
Wait, Tony, I can't hear you.
Oh, between
Wait,
Rupa.
one second. Now.
So if you ask that question, in my mind, the question comes up: why do you even have to go to the temple if you ask that question? I can say
To
it
me,
here. You can do
to
it at
me,
home. Yeah.
that is what I've started believing in. I really feel like I don't. This is what I feel. This is just personal.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. We hardly go, and I sometimes feel like that's okay
Yeah.
for me.
But you know what? Okay, I don't go to the temple too often, but when I go, we tip the bartender, we tip the guy picking the barista guy, we tip everyone. The Pandit ji is there doing his job, giving him a little money is just,
Oh, but that's yeah, that's
What's the-
perfectly okay. Yeah, that's fine. What I mean is, I don't need the Pandit to do my prayers. I can do it myself. I don't know the mantras, so I don't know whether I'm doing it the right way or not. But tipping is your priority. Tip as much as you want and give as much as you want. That's part of Gita too. So
Okay,
giving
so-
is not the issue. The issue is whether going and conducting that ritual is important, or whether I can talk to God directly.
Okay, so
That's my question.
Didi, let's follow the Karam Yog format here. Okay,
Yeah.
the Karam Yog format. This is something which is giving you hassle in your mind. It's causing conflict. You don't know whether to do this or not. Then, what is the cause of that conflict? That's what you should focus on. Why do you have this anger against temples or against pandits or against tipping?
No anger.
Okay, I'm just projecting.
Yeah.
What's behind all this? All this fluttering in
Behind
the
all
mind.
this is that I've seen people who go regularly to the temple and gossip and talk about others, and they're such hypocrites, and they're sitting there
So let them be.
doing the
Yeah,
mala.
but they are also Bhagwan, right? Or they are not?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I mean. So I
think the
feel-
point is, why is it bothering you? There is so much crap in this world. Why is it attaching itself to you at this moment?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. That I don't have. That is what I told you. That
That's
I
the
can.
question I asked myself too, because it attaches
Yeah.
to me also.
Right. I mean,
Because,
I
people-
don't have anything against temples. I love going to the temple once in a great while when I feel the need for it. But otherwise, to me, this is just my personal thing that I can
Right.
pray myself, and God is within me. So,
Yeah, and you can do it, but there are other people who don't think like that, who don't
And
have the
that's fine.
maturity,
So
they
to
don't
each
have
his
the
own, right?
intelligence of you, which you have,
Right.
to think like that. For them, they need all that.
yeah.
Oh, Billu, sorry, you're muted, Billu. Billu, you're muted.
You can't hear you.
Acha, I want to ask one question.
Huh.
You said that the yagyas, they invoke the god by doing all the purohits can invoke the god. But do you think they can actually invoke gods by doing all these yajnas? Is there any truth in it?
Is there a God, first of all?
It is a part, you said it is a part of these four yags. When they invoke the sun god, okay, they can invoke Shiv ji, or they do that, right? Shiv puja bhi karte hain, wo bhi karte hain. So can the gods be invoked, and like we can offer our salutations like this through the Purohit to them, and then
I don't know, Billu, honestly. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is, if you think that there is a God, and And if you
Do
think
you
that
need to
there's
go through the Purohits? Because it is, you said it is a written thing in Yag, that there are yags which are
in
done,
Ved, it's written.
and you all the formalities ki aisi brick honi chahiye, aisi fire honi chahiye. So do you think those things are
So
important?
I'll tell you this. Let me
Hmm.
see if this answers your question. Okay.
Hmm.
So the overarching Hinduism philosophy,
Hmm.
overarching, because Ved is very contradictory. If you look
Right.
at the first three parts of the Ved, they're talking about there's an Ishwar,
Hmm.
invoke the Ishwar. In fact, actually, in the first three parts of the Ved, it tells you also not just invoke the Ishwar, it tells you you want things in your life, this is how to get them. You want a son, here's the Putra Kameshti ritual. It's written in the Ved.
Hmm.
This is how you would do it to get it. Somebody gets to get married, this is what you have to do. This is part and parcel of our Hindu life.
Hmm.
So if you go to a Pandit today and all this is in the Ved, same Ved which also has the Upanishad. The Upanishad says all that matters is your own knowledge about yourself. Everything else is secondary. If you know yourself, nothing else is important. In fact, if you remember, there was a shlok we read in the chapter 2 of the Gita, which said, Vedavad Ritaha, something, Vedavad Rati. These people who are talking about Vedas and all these rituals, they are useless. There was a phrase like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
second half of the Ved, or the latter part of the Ved, actually debunks all of this. So where, like, what is a man to do, right? On the
Yeah.
one hand,
Just it's very
so
controversial. Hmm.
the way that the way that Hinduism works is literally it is in the Ved. You start from the beginning and reach the end. When you are a brahmachari, when you are a grihast, when all your needs are there, you are involved in the front part of the Ved. You're doing the rituals, you're invoking God, you have to, you're looking at, you're building a career, you're bringing up a family. You're not thinking about self knowledge. You're thinking about how to raise my family. And what do I do to raise my family? What's a dharmic way of raising my family? All that is done in the first part of the Ved. Then the middle part, which is the Aranyakas, is actually literally Aranyakas means in the forest or off the forest. It's literally the Vanaprastha ashram, where you leave the household and say, even if you don't leave the household, your responsibility of your household give to the children. So if you have a business, you tell your son, you run the business. I'm going to now retire and I'm going to meditate. That's where the Aranyakas are, the third part of the Ved. And then eventually you go to the Upanishads. Because through this whole process of living this life, of all these repeated cycles of desire being fulfilled and new desires being formed, you learn. Through meditation, your mind has become sharper, more expansive. Now you're ready to listen to what the Upanishads have to say, which is saying that all this thing you did is nonsense. You don't you don't need to follow your desires. You don't need to you don't need to seek happiness through your desires. Your happiness is within you. That comes only in the end. And that's when you do what's called sannyas ashram. So that's I'm just trying to say that the the answer to your
The
question the
phase
answer to
of
your
life.
question is based on the maturity of the person who's asking this question. So if the person who's a young person who if let's say if I was the guru and I saw a young person like one of our children, I'm not going to tell them go for self knowledge unless that person is a uniquely mature person, unless that person
And
is
it's seeking it.
uniquely, yeah,
Hmm.
seeking it. There are people like that. I
Yeah,
know
there are
people like that.
some. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not going to tell them, but I will tell them be dharmic, do things the dharmic way. Go after your desires, do it the dharmic way, because you don't want to get into problems. If you do things illegally in a non-dharmic way, you're going to ruin your life. Don't do that. Then Vedas tell you how to do it. Vedas tell you the dharmic way of following your desires. They say nothing wrong in it. Appreciate, ask God for it. Build a relationship with God. Say, okay, God, give me this. I'm going to offer this. And you'll see as we go down these verses more, you'll see much more. Like for example, it'll say, when be grateful. If you're eating something, God has given you food, accept it gratefully from God. Give a little back to God as a prasad. So all these things it says. The idea is that it's saying don't just be a consumer, don't just grab everything. Be grateful when you're getting it, or give to others, so you're leading a dharmic life. but you're not a Karam Yogi. At some stage in your life, you are going to become a Karam Yogi because you are actually going to realize that this is not going anywhere. I keep thinking that I'm getting better and better, I'm happier and happier, but really I'm not. The reason that all of you are listening to this is because somewhere deep in your mind you realize that. Otherwise, this is a waste of time. You would rather be, making money, on a per hour basis. If I was a consultant, I'd rather be consulting. But this cannot be expected from a person who is very young, who really truly believes that my happiness comes from happy home, happy marriage, successful life, this. They really think so. And they go for it. So Vedas take you through the entire journey of life. The front part of the Vedas is for the householder, for the brahmachari. That's what it is. The middle part, which is the Vanaprastha, the meditations, is for the person who is transitioning. It's a transition from worldly to spiritual, sannyas. And the last portion is for people who have reached that level of maturity, who are willing to listen to this and are willing to say, okay, let me try something different, which may make more sense which may bring me more peace than what I've been doing so far. So you can answer your question yourself. Where are you in this process? And be honest and say, if I need help, if I feel very anxious and I need help to take care of my anxiety right now, and by praying to God and by going to the mandir, it helps me with my anxiety, it is absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, then you're jumping without having met an earlier need. And that is not, it's like sannyas, right? Taking sannyas too soon. So that thing will keep following you. That anxiety will never be taken care of. So that's how a good guru will answer you. He will see where you are. He will see your situation and give you the recommendation accordingly. That's how it works in Hinduism. It's a very evolved religion.
So it is okay actually if you say, okay, now that you've done everything, now you've come to God. It's a phase of life. है ना कभी कहने ना पहले तो कुछ सोचा नहीं उन जैसा बड़े हो रहे हैं लगता है कि मरन लग गया now we start thinking about God.
That's
But
okay.
that is actually a process.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
That's
is a
okay. There's
process
nothing wrong
because
in
you've
it.
gone through. Yeah.
Yeah. Till you go through it, you're not going to understand it, And this is not, you don't have to kid anybody. You're not kidding yourself. If you're just doing it because sare kar rahe hain, then you're just kidding yourself. That's a waste of time. It has to come from within you.
So it's okay to go through this process, like of living life and then reaching a stage.
Yeah, even now we are living life. Yeah, we are going to have fun. Abhi to aayegi na. We'll come. We'll go to San Juan Capistrano. We'll paint the town red.
We'll go to a
Geeta's
casino.
going to take us to like fancy Mexican restaurants. Geeta, already you owe me a dinner, right? You told me already.
Absolutely.
You told
We
me.
need to be there, and you all come, and it'll be so awesome. We can have a whole Kiki, Nitu, Kavita, Mike.
Mummy Masi.
Mummy Masi can get the room, and we will all sleep on the floor.
Absolutely, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Madhu Didi bhi aayegi फिर. Bittu
Bring your
आएगा कि
sleeping
नहीं?
bags.
If
Bring
Bittu
your
comes, then we'll come.
bags also. Seriously, come. Bring sleeping bags, then it's all okay.
But really, it's good California living, San Juan Capistrano. Bright sunshine, lovely, lovely ocean. There's a lovely mission also over there.
Yeah.
Good. Nice, good lecture.
Yes, I would say that some things have connected. Like I think what Madhu was talking about, same connection is there for me. Much easier to understand the thousands of gods we have. There was always a nuisance in my head. It's very clear. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing, but nobody ever, you don't figure it out yourself. Nobody ever said it.
People have, yeah.
It's awesome. That's a
But
great. I can understand.
maybe because thousands of gods make you easier to realize that God is everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same God. You say, okay, this is rain God, this is Vayu God, this is that God. For a person who is very simple-minded, he connects like that. But really, then Gita also says they are the aspects of the same Ishwar. It's not that there are different Ishwars. The thousands of gods are just different aspects of the same Ishwar.
Same Ishwar.
But we don't have any Ishwar representing negative things, right? Gita also says that all the good parts that, normally our attitude is so reverential because of the goodness of Ishwar. But Gita also says, right, Nitu, that it's not just the good aspects,
Yeah,
it's
of
all
course,
the
of course.
negative
दानव
aspects.
भी तो है उसमें सब में.
Right,
No,
right.
The
your
Rakshasas and the
reverential attitude
Danavs.
has to be
Right.
towards creation as a whole.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
exactly.
there's a reverential attitude towards everything because it's all come from God and there's a reason for it. I mean, literally, there's a reason why there's evil because otherwise you wouldn't appreciate good. You're saying, I appreciate all the good parts. How do you know it's a good part? Because you have an
Yeah,
evil
if
to
it was
compare
all,
it with.
it was
Otherwise,
all
you
good.
never
Yeah.
know it's a good part. You just take it for granted.
So when bad things happen to us, that's
Yeah.
also Ishwar. That's
मैंने
also
आपको
the
बताया
order.
था ना मैंने आपको बताया था ना that Matrix की कहानी. I told you once there was a movie called Matrix. उसमें they create the Matrix and पहले उन्होंने कहा था कि human beings को they wanted to engage them or trap them in the Matrix. So first they gave only the good things in the Matrix. And human beings got very bored. they got, the good became the baseline, right? So then you're always comparing against the baseline. अभी हमारे पास we have this much money. What do we call rich? From this baseline up, right? But when we had this much money, very much lower, then the rich was from that baseline up. So if everything is good, then that becomes the new baseline. That becomes the new normal. There's nothing special. So you need both in order for you to appreciate the good. Very good.
I mean, our brains could have been
So,
constructed so we didn't have to, like, we could just enjoy the good. That is just like a rationalization.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Okay. Anything else? Are we good?
Happy Father's Day.
yes.
Thank you.